Working to electrify the economy and help build a net zero carbon future for Illinois. They're proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW WECC McLean County Community Spotlight.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers. And Chief, you've got a guest with you today. Tell us about Gene a little bit.
I do. More seniority than I have within the department. But today we have Administrative Assistant Gene Rogers. Who we had a little presentation last night at City Council. Next Friday, July 26th, marks Gene's, I believe, 40th year, 6 months, and a handful of days. Mm-hmm. But most notably, her last day. She's scheduled to retire after next Friday, or on next Friday. And, we talk about her years of service and her dedication to the police department and all of the things that she's seen over that period of time under 3 different police chiefs. She started in 1984, in January of 1984, under then Chief Mike Norrington. Worked under Chief Reedy from 1993 until his retirement in 2013, and then as she is going to tell you, she has raised or trained 3 chiefs in her tenure, and that's certainly the case. And I want to turn it over to Gene, but as I talked about last night, I mean, not only her vast knowledge and experience within the police department, but she's become a very close friend to all of us. A mentor, a motherly figure in some, especially as we've gone on, she jokes every day about how these officers are getting so much younger, and so, but I love to listen to her stories from the early days of her dispatch days and just the relationships that she has built with the officers that have come and gone and is still close to today.
Sure.
You know what? You don't need to hear from me. Let's hear from Gene.
Well,
my first question is to talk about.
My first question, Gene, is he said you've raised 3 police chiefs. Which one was the toughest to raise?
Well, I'm still working on Ben. He does have hope.
We're almost to the end, so that window's closing fast. As I said, the other thing is that Gene and my mother are friends.
Yes.
And probably communicate maybe more than I would appreciate sometimes, because as I mentioned last night, Gene has always been certainly a listening ear and a sounding board, and very loyal and very supportive, and was always willing to offer some motherly advice, sometimes even when it wasn't asked for. So anyways, and there are also times that I think I'm pretty sure she's the messenger. I'm pretty sure I know where that message came from. So anyways, but it's been a great relationship, both professionally and has developed into a personal friendship, obviously, and an admiration over the 20 plus years that I've worked with Gene. But
you're just leading me to all these questions.
Yeah,
so hold
I
on.
hope so. Yeah,
so hold
absolutely.
on.
So
you mentioned that you're friends with Chief's mom.
His mom was actually my 4-H leader. When I was
really?
growing up.
Okay.
So yes, and I babysat his 2 sisters.
Oh, okay.
Ben wasn't around yet.
So I have to ask.
She tells me often that's where things went wrong, is that she didn't babysit me.
So when you heard that Ben was going to be a police officer in Clinton, and knowing all the things you knew, what was your thoughts?
Well, I actually didn't know Ben.
Oh, okay.
I knew his sisters, but I didn't.
But
know
you
Ben.
had to have known. I mean, the legend of Ben Lowers, even back in the day, was.
She probably had. I'm going to speak for. She probably had this preconceived notion that I was the sweetheart that my sisters were. So wow, what a surprise she would have gotten.
No, but for real, what was early Chief Lowers like?
He was good.
Was he?
Yes, he was. He was.
See, Gene, we didn't bring you on here to be nice.
Well, no, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He was a jokester. He could pull some tricks and some jokes on people and officers and stuff. So I mean, he was ornery.
But he didn't pull one on you, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure he probably did.
Seth, in 2013, with the retirement of Chief Reedy, And then when I was appointed to take his place, our new department motto became, "What was funny before ain't funny no more." And so we've had to change tune a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the early days of Officer Lauer's patrol days.
Yeah.
But,
No.
we've had a lot of fun over the years.
Yeah, in all seriousness, Gene, you mentioned you started as a dispatcher.
Yes.
I've talked about a few times before. I spent a little time as a dispatcher. What was that like way back before we had 6 computer screens and 3-4 phone lines in our ear? What was that like?
It was a lot harder then.
Yeah,
we
I bet.
we didn't have the 911, so if you got a phone call that came in and you didn't have an address that popped up on a screen to tell you where this emergency was coming from, and so you had to, and if the person wasn't from here at that time, the lake was just kind of starting, so you had a lot of people from out of town that you had to kind of narrow down the mileage and say, okay, are you past Clinton? Are you here before? You just didn't. It was all by word of mouth and thinking and everything. So I mean, we didn't have computers. We didn't have, so you were not only talking to the person on the phone, but you were talking on the radio to someone, and then you were also listening to the radio for other things. So you had several things going on at once, and you were by yourself. It wasn't a room of 2 or 3 people in there.
And that speaks to the challenge, even still, of the job of a dispatcher.
does.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
does.
So now, how did it come about that you went from being a dispatcher to basically the administrative assistant of the police department?
Well, when I first became a dispatcher, I actually took the dispatch position I had from my sister. My sister started as a dispatcher with the Clinton Police Department. She went on to be a police officer. So then I worked part-time as a dispatcher. So then I took the full-time position. I was a dispatch, then became in charge of the dispatchers, but I still worked my shift. And then when the city and the county combined the dispatch center, the first 6 months, I did have to go over and dispatch because we were still city employees. But at the same time, I was also the part-time secretary because, like I said, at that time we didn't have the computers. We typed the handwritten reports.
Right.
Trying to find a secretary that could type and not keyboard.
Oh, I guess I didn't know there was a difference.
There is a difference.
Okay.
Because they don't know how to hit the return to go back. And so when we combined, then at that time was Chief Reedy, and he said, he was keeping the lobby open. We were going to have and he had me go into the position of full-time administrative assistant to where I'm there. So the public could always have a door open when they come in.
Yeah, okay.
And someone answering.
Okay, so at that point, you become the administrative assistant of the police department.
Yep.
Was City Hall was the way it was now then, correct?
It was, but when I started, we were in just a small building, right there where it used to be the eye doctor's office, where we walk between the City Hall and up to the square.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fire department has vehicle. There used to be a building there, and that was the police department.
Oh, okay.
There was
Really?
there was-
Man, that's a small building. Holy
that
cow.
faced the square, I
Yes,
believe.
we
didn't it?
faced the square.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
The front door was off the square. And where the squad cars were parked, that was the back door that went into, it was just one long building.
Wow.
And it was not, at that time, was not ADA compliant.
Okay.
So that's when they redid all of City Hall, and the police department moved us over there. And so that's
it.
that's how we became over to the current City Hall that police department we're in now.
Sure. Again, that is Jean Rogers, administrative assistant for the Clinton Police Department. She retires next Friday. Clinton Police Chief in studio, Ben Lauer's in studio with us this morning as well. So you become the administrative assistant, and I guess you're probably familiar with a lot of things, having been a dispatcher. You're familiar with the names and the people and the officers, and obviously Clinton. You're from here and all those things. So tell me a little bit about just that transition, and having to work with all those guys, and probably a less formal role. I mean, it's still, you're still professional, but it's just probably a different environment at that point.
It is. You're not. It's the dispatch position is a lot more stressful.
Yeah, right.
Because you are in charge of the officers and everything and what they're going on and sitting there and listening to. I still monitor the radio and everything from my position, and I still work closely with the officers, but I'm not in that top position, as far as
Directing them and all
yes.
that. Yeah.
So now I'm more on the paper line of it and the reports and everything that get turned in. And
Yeah.
so you want to make sure everything gets sent to the state's attorney, and so the people that has been arrested or whatever are charged. And
Yeah. So, okay, I've just got a million questions now. Who had the worst handwriting when they put a report on your desk? It's like, what am I reading? What in the world? Can you learn to write? Who was that guy for you?
oh my goodness, there's been several over 40 years.
And still are.
I used to be able to. I will tell you the one story.
Yes.
There was one year, this was several years ago, when you used to get magazines in the mail and you filled out the cards to send off for a free subscription and everything. They might have been done to some other officers, and they started getting these subscriptions in the mail. So finally one contacted the company and said, I did not sign up for this, and you guys have got to stop it. Can you send me? So they sent the card. They actually brought it to me, and I could tell whose handwriting it was.
That's
And,
awesome.
to find out. So, yeah, I was a pretty good handwriting analysis.
Thank goodness. You can't always read the name, but Jean is kind of our handwriting analyst. She knows who it is just by the
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I bet you
and
get
there
that
are
way.
many mornings that I get a ticket laid in front of me on my desk, and can you read this to me? Well, no. Well, exactly. Can you do something about this?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask. I've had this question, and I've got to ask it now. How often did you encounter where an officer said they were going to do something, or they their response was a planned response was a certain way, and you're just sitting in your chair and it's like, you're a young officer, I'm going to bite my tongue, but you really need to approach this differently. This is not going to work out for you. How often does that?
About once a week.
About once a week.
No, the guys are really good. I mean, yes, they are good. You go through the new officer syndrome. You go through the new dispatcher syndrome. Everybody in their new positions always. Same way with chiefs.
Yeah.
New chiefs, they have their ways. We always like I said, we have each other's back. We are not just employees. We are family.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, that speaks to kind of the mother side of things. It's like as a parent, sometimes you just got to sit back and okay, you go ahead and go try that, and we'll see how it works out for you.
I guarantee you, I'm going to be the winner in this, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Let you figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, do you have any tales of the chief learning lessons?
No, she doesn't.
The hard way. Gene, tell me a little bit about just your was there a mentor for you in coming up as whether as a dispatcher or just your time as administrative assistant? Was there someone that helped guide you in that experience?
Really, all of them. They all. I mean, the officers, the chiefs, everybody I have worked with has always been there and helped me, and I hope I have helped them just as much as they have helped me. And like I said, through personal stuff. The year I lost my parents and a brother, all in the same year, they were there for me, and I don't think I could have done a lot of it without them. And when we have our kids, like I said, we're just we rely on each other.
Yeah, how many of some of those kids are adults now? Too many?
Too many.
Sure, very good. Well, let's take a break here, guys. Come back with some more. Again, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers and Jean Rogers, Administrative Assistant at the Clinton Police Department. She retires next Friday from nearly 40 years at the Clinton Police Department, and our guests in studio for today. More to come on The Morning Show.
WHOW.
Your County Farm Bureau. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all trading higher. September corn up 3/4, $3.96 1/2. December corn up 2 pennies, $4.10 3/4. March corn $4.24, up 2. August beans $10.98 1/4, up 7 3/4. September beans up 1 1/4, $10.39. New crop November $10.43 3/4, up 1/2 penny. September wheat $5.40 1/4, up 9 1/2. December wheat up 9, $5.64 1/2. August bean meal $3.36 even, up 60 cents. August bean oil $46.86, up 16 cents. Livestock market August feeders $257.92, down 70 cents. August live cattle down 15 cents, 182.52. August lean hogs 92.07, up 80 cents. Energy market, August crude oil 82.22, up $1.46. And I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Here's owner Dave Jackson at your Clinton Save-A-Lot Fighting Inflation 2024.
I look at every cost increase, every suggested retail price, and many times I'll go with the suggested, it depends, or I'll not go up as much, won't go up at all. I just can't raise things as fast as the market is going. I can't do that, and I look at that and go, how can we sell this for this retail? This is crazy.
Dave fights inflation every day at your Clinton Save-A-Lot.
Hope to see you soon.
John Prater here, your new country financial agent at 320 East Van Buren in Clinton. I'd love to meet you as I get connected to the Clinton community. Find out more by clicking on my icon at dewitdailynews.com.
Fiber internet has come to Clinton with Connexus. Plans start at just $19.99 a month, with their 1 gig plan just $39.99 a month. Click the Connexus icon at dewitdailynews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest in studio today, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers and his administrative assistant, Gene Lowers. Although, Chief, we were talking in the break that, Gene Rogers. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. Gene Rogers. You were telling me in the break, though, about just she's an administrative assistant, but Gene, you've become so much more than that because of, a lot of the state reporting mandates and all of those things. Speak to, where you started and how that has changed to today.
When I started, like I said, with dispatch, I just had to answer the calls and put out the calls and everything. Then when I became the secretary, then you start having to get into more of the state level stuff. You have to enter reports. They need the crime and statistics, and then they, as a state requires mandates, you have to send in these different calls and everything. And then they have expanded. Now they include racial profiling, and it's every ticket or written warning or anything an officer writes, we have to log all that information. All that has to be sent to the state. And same way with crimes. All the crimes have to be reported to the state so they can send it on to the federal level. So, it just grows from there.
Yeah.
And so that takes up a lot of your time now as far as getting away from, you're still doing your reports and everything, but then you now have to, and we used to have even just local statistics for different agencies that needed, to get grants or whatever. They need to know, well, how many accident reports do you have in this intersection, or how many DUIs did you have in this 12-month period?
Yeah,
and
sure.
So you've just a lot of stats involved.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, Jean is, among her responsibilities are the organization and maintenance of all of our department reports and department records. And it used to be, even as much as 10, 12, 15 years ago, somebody came in to get a copy of a report. They came in, they paid the $5 fee for a copy of a report. Now with FOIA and things,
that's what I was just thinking.
Jean prepares a lot of reports for public dissemination, which things have to be redacted and whatnot. We prepare those. We send them upstairs through City Hall, through the FOIA officer, through the city attorney to be responded to. But even that, just the maintenance of the records, not only the maintenance of it, but then, every so many years we do a records destruction, things like that. It's a very in-depth role. Something else you had mentioned in the first segment there about Jean as far as a mentor and whatnot. I believe when Jean started in this was kind of a hybrid role when you took it over with the combining of the dispatch, the advent of an administrative assistant. So she didn't necessarily have someone who said, all right, this is your role and this is how you're going.
You kind of learned on the job on your own.
Well,
Yes.
Well, it was a hybrid position. She kind of created it, and she and Chief Reedy worked together
Yes.
to develop this position and what its role would be. So we're so much, even though she's teased me for the last 3 or 4 years that when she leaves, she's just walking out the door, and by God, the next person's going to learn just like she did. But she has been so gracious. We do have a replacement, and she's actually in a couple-week training period. So this transition is going to be much simpler at least than what it was when Jean took the position, and it was kind of a new position to the department.
Well, she's got big shoes to fill. So
Yeah, absolutely she does. She
so
certainly
definitely
does.
definitely. Well, Gene, as you reflect on 40 years at the city, are there whether it's cases, whether it's calls, responses, anything stand out about just whether it was a tough time, a funny time? What are some fond memories you have that you'll take away?
I think the best takeaways I can do really are people that I've met through the department, even with the public and everything, the ones that have come back and just to thank. And, this is what I used to do. This is what I do now. How much, I've had dispatchers that have left and went on to other departments and stuff. So, it's always a great feeling to know that we have mattered to some. And it's not always pleasant, but we do get through them. And so it's always a rewarding feeling.
What are you going to do with yourself in retirement?
Well, I'm sure I've got a lot of things to take care of when I get, first off, foremost is going to be spending time in my camper.
Yeah.
And, but there's a lot of housework that's been put on hold for a lot of years. So I've got that. And then I'm sure I'll get bored and I'll have to find something to do part-time.
Don't let Jean fool you. She's a busybody. Not only all of her responsibilities and commitment to the police department over these years, but she's very active in the community. She is a well-recognized and known name and face within the community. Has been involved in numerous different boards and organizations, and most recently, for the last several years now, but is very passionate about she and Pat, their work with the WHOW organization, which you're familiar with, helping the veterans in their outdoor adventures. So I have no doubt that she'll be as busy. I don't think she ever sits down.
Yeah.
So.
Keep us in mind, by the way, when those things come up.
I will.
Yeah, come on
I
out
will.
here and talk about what y'all are doing. So very good. Well, what else do you do in the community? I know WHOA is kind of the big thing for you. What else do you like to do,
It
Jean?
is. I have slowed down a few things in the last few years. I was on the Celebrate Clinton board, did a lot of work with the fireworks, which is a great organization too. And I had been involved with the American Legion Auxiliary and stuff. And like I said, the last few years have slowed down. My family also ran a kettle corn business on the weekends. We did that for 20 years. So
Did you give that up?
we retired from that 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
right now, my time is devoted to the WHOA and
Okay.
raising money for them and
Yeah.
helping with their fishing camps and going and cooking for them and their deer camps and stuff.
Okay.
So
Good deal.
And we sure do miss that leftover kettle corn
Yeah.
on Monday mornings. They'd have a big event over the weekend with kettle corn and shake-ups, and there'd always be a few leftover bags of kettle corn on.
And you
in the
mentioned if they
office.
were local, the guys would go and see
Oh,
them.
yeah. Yep. Best milkshakes. Best lemon shake-ups around.
Sure.
By a margin.
You're gonna have to teach somebody that secret.
it's not a secret.
Oh, okay.
It's just sugar, water, and ice.
Okay, well, there's something in there that makes it
Yeah.
good, I think. But anyways, no, we appreciate you guys coming out. And Jean, enjoy retirement. Thanks for doing this with us.
Well, I can't thank the city enough, and I can't thank the police department enough for the 40 years they've given me. And
Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers and his administrative assistant Gene Rogers in studio with us here this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance.
To BG Clinton, 106.5 FM, W293 DJ Normal.